What if you could decide today to become an automatic millionaire simply by changing just a few daily habits? And the good news is you only have to make the decision one time. And then you could be 100% certain for sure that you would, in fact, retire as an automatic millionaire. Well, on today's show, the 9-time New York Times bestselling author, Mr. David Bach, joins us to teach you his secrets for becoming an automatic millionaire.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we'll show you how to get.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we are interviewing a 9-time New York Times bestselling author who is best known for his Finish Rich book and the Automatic Millionaire series of financial books. He's just recently released his 20th anniversary edition of his mega seller, Smart Women Finish Rich. David holds an undergraduate degree from the University of Southern California, and throughout his career, he has appeared on the Today Show, CNBC, Fox Business, Live with Regis and Kelly, The View, Larry King, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and anywhere on the planet that TVs are sold. Ladies and gentlemen, David has impacted my life in a profound way with this thing he calls the latte effect. Let's welcome on, without any further ado, Mr. David Bach. Welcome on, sir.
Wow, I love it. Well, it's great to be on the show with you. Thank you for, just a totally awesome introduction. I love your energy.
David, years ago, my wife and I, we were getting this book called The Automatic Millionaire because I don't do road trips unless I have an audio book. And then if I listen to the audiobook and I like it, I buy the physical book. So I picked up the book called The Automatic Millionaire. And at the time, I had a company called DJ Connection, which I later sold. But before I sold it, we were doing 4,000 weddings or corporate events a year. And it still exists today. DJconnection.com. And you challenged me. You said, you, Mr. Clay Clark, you, Mr. Listener, you, Mr. Whoever you are, you have to save at least 1 hour per day of income regardless of how much money you're making. And at the time, I was making a copious amount of money. Can you talk to us about the importance of beginning to save 1 hour per day of income, regardless of how much money we're making?
Yeah, I would love to, because honestly, this is what should be taught to you before you get out of like the 8th grade. So let me start by saying this. The average person in America is going to work 90,000 hours. That's a lot of hours, right? So,
right.
And then, if you're both working, which today many families, both work, right? You could have a family that the two of you combined will work over 200,000 hours during your lifetime. So if you just take that math and you go, well, geez, so I guess if people are working so hard, then they must all end up with a lot of money, right? Because you trade your time for money when you go to work. So are they? And that's really the core issue. They're not, right? So 1 out of 2 Americans right now, according to the Federal Reserve, can't get their hands on $400 in case of emergency purposes.
True.
$400, right?
400, yeah.
So the follow-up book to The Automatic Millionaire was actually a book called Start Late, Finish Rich. And when I wrote Start Late, Finish Rich, the thing that blew my mind away was that the statistics said that 60% to 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So what I started saying to people was, look, here's the deal. The entire secret to building wealth is that you have to fight for your paycheck and you have to keep the first hour a day of your income. And what that means, super simple, is you go to work at 9 o'clock and you work until 5. On a typical day, you need to keep whatever you earn the first hour. So from 9 to 10, let's say you make $20 an hour or $50 an hour or $100 an hour. Whatever that first hour of income is, it's got to go straight to you. And the only legal way to have it go straight to you, where it doesn't go to taxes or Social Security or state tax. Like I live in New York City, right? I've got federal tax, I've got state tax, I've got city tax, I've got Social Security tax. When I earn a dollar, all over 40 cents on the dollar is gone before I can ever see it, right?
Right.
The only way I cannot pay those taxes, and the key word here is legally, is if I take money that first hour, day of my income, and I put it in a deductible retirement account. So for someone who's listening that's got a job, it's going to be like a 401k plan. Or if you're a teacher, it's going to be a 403b plan. Or if you're a government worker, it might be a TSA plan. Or if you're self-employed, like you probably, you were self-employed, right? When you had this DJ Connections, it's a self-employed retirement account. It's like a SEP IRA account. And, many entrepreneurs don't even fund these accounts because they don't even know about them. So the whole concept of pay yourself first, 1 hour a day of your income, is that if you do that, you're saving 12.5% of your gross income. And that's a really good starting number. Now, I got to be honest, I'm starting to try to get Americans to save more than that. 15 to 20% of your gross income is even better. And I taught that in the Automatic Millionaire. Like if you want to get rich faster, it's 15 to 20%. But getting people to focus on 1 hour a day of your income, I really do think it's been a game changer. Like when I put out the Automatic Millionaire, we launched the book on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and this is back in 2004. And this idea of getting people to think about it in terms of why would you go to work and not keep the first hour day of your income, I think it was like a light bulb moment for people. Like obviously it reached you, right? Like you remembered it, and it got other people to kind of go home and think about that and talk about it with their wife and talk about it with their family and make that a goal. And it's a great goal.
One thing that, and I mean this in a positive way. So if you don't like this compliment, if you feel like this is a backhanded compliment, you can feel free to hang up, and I'll know. Click. I'll pick up on that subtle cue. But you are not Yoda. You're more of a Broda. I mean, you are like the way you write. The way you write is like I feel like it's my brother from another mother writing on a third grade level that I can understand. You don't talk in financial jargon. Your books are very easy to read, easy to understand. They're real page turners. I mean, they're very easy to read. And in one of your books you said, the number one financial mistake is not to have your finances on automatic. And I wrote that down in my man journal. I wrote it down. And I wrote down, I go, automatic. I mean, everything about my company, DJ Connection, was automatic. Every DJ had a checklist for their shows. After the wedding, we sent the bride a survey. Based on their survey, we determined how much the DJ got paid. And so if a DJ got a bad review, he made very little money. If he got a great review, he made a lot of money. And everything in my life's automatic. Checklists, systems, processes. Why aren't my finances automatic? Can you explain to our listeners what it means to have? Help us get our finances on automatic.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's why it needs to be automatic. I mean, I learned this by being a financial advisor, working with people in the real world. What I saw is that when someone says, I'm disciplined, David, I'm going to write a check, I'll bring you the money every month to save. Nobody did it, right? Like no. They might do it for 2 months. The record was 6. So what I saw firsthand was the only way people will really save money for whatever it is, retirement, buying a home, college savings, wanting to start a new business. The only way people are successful at investing and saving is when they save automatically and when they have the money moved automatically. So the Automatic Millionaire was really about the simple idea, and nothing's changed because it's timeless principles. First of all, don't try to have a budget because budgets suck. Like, people have been told for decades and generations, you need a budget. No, if budgets worked, then everybody would be wealthy. I mean, they don't. But you go on a budget, they're totally frustrating to set up. Couples fight over their budgets all the time. What works is saving money automatically. So I taught in the Automatic Millionaire, throw the budget out. I learned with my clients, forget the budget. Let's just make sure you're taking 10% off the top or 20% off the top. Let's move this money automatically. Every time money comes in, let's move it automatically into the places it needs to go. And that's kind of the next part of automation is where does the money need to go? And when you get into real financial planning, if you were to simplify it, which is what I live to do, is to make it simple, because the problem with money is people make it too complicated.
True.
If you were to simplify money, there's like a handful of things that you need to make automatic. You need your bills made automatic. You need your emergency account made automatic.
Oh.
You need your retirement account made automatic, and then you need a dream account made automatic.
Oh, yes. David,
And
I want to put this all in the show notes. Well, I want to, in my passive aggressive attempt to book you on the show again. I mean, you are so good. You're preaching this automatic. Somebody out there is going, I want to make it automatic. What do I do? What do I do, David?
And here's the thing that's incredible is like this used to be so hard. This didn't used to be easy to do, right? Like 20 years ago, I got in this business in 1993. I had to think about this for a second. So, back in the day, if you had come into my office and I was at Morgan Stanley and I wanted to just automate a savings account for you, I'd have to have you fill out like 6 pieces of paperwork. It was a huge process, right? Today, when somebody wants to do anything automated, now with technology, you can literally open up your iPhone, go click, click, click. And most financial service companies today are at a point where you can have your financial life, in some cases, automated in less than 10 minutes. You can open up a savings account in less than 10 minutes online. You can have an automated retirement account with a diversified portfolio in less than 10 minutes. Things have been made really simple. And by the way, that simplicity is also making it so that now more and more people are saving money automatically. There are now a lot of people who are building real wealth because of automated savings.
And by the way, back in 1993, a lot of our listeners probably couldn't focus on their finances because they were listening to Whoomp, There It Is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now people have the ability to focus. That song was hot back in 1993. Just a little DJ fun factoid for you. Now, I want to ask you this because I know there's somebody out there who's a big fan of Marie Forleo. And I saw you on an interview with her where you were quoted as having written in the past. You wrote, "We need to start with our values because your values can determine how hard you are willing to work to achieve your financial goals, how much money you currently spend, and how much money you will actually need for retirement." Could you talk to us about the importance of knowing our financial values?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I love Marie Forleo, and I love that you watched that video. It's a great video, and people can go and find that. David Bach, Marie Forleo.
I'll put a link to it on the show notes.
Yeah, because that was a great interview, and I love her, and she's here in New York City also, and we've become good friends. And I've known Marie for over 10 years, and I think what I've always talked about since the beginning of my career is that all financial planning is personal, but it should be based off your values. If you can look at what's really most important to you, why do you want money? Instead of just saying like, oh, I want $1 million. Like, why do you, what is it that you want? Why do you want money? Well, geez, I want to be financially free. Well, what does that mean to you? I'd like to go start a new business, or I'd like to take my family to Hawaii, or I want to make sure that I have security. I want to be able to give back to my community. If you can drill down deeper into what your values are, and I teach in some of my first books, like Smart Women Finish Rich, which we just put out as a 20-year anniversary edition. That was my first book. Smart Women Finish Rich starts by having you look at what your values are. And once you're clear on your values, you make your financial goals based off of those. And then you do all your financial planning around.
I have a quick confession real quick because this might get weird. Chuck, this might get weird for the listeners out there.
Sometimes it does. I mean, that's
I'm sorry, Dave. I know we're just meeting each other. I feel like I've known you forever because I've listened to every interview you've ever done.
We go way back.
Here's the deal. I actually read Smart Women Finish Rich in preparation for today's show.
You did?
Yeah,
Wow.
we had the 20th anniversary, and it was like it wasn't super woo woo. I mean, you didn't tell me, Clay, make sure you get estrogen injections. I mean, it wasn't super weird. I mean, but the thing is, there's so many women in my case, in my family, my wife and I, we have 5 kids, and we work together on everything. We work together on every business, and I'm offense, my wife's defense, and the service we offer or the product we offer for any company is the special teams. I'm the offense. I do the marketing, the advertising, that kind of the sales, and my wife does the accounting, the financial planning. And when I picked up the book, that's what my wife does. Vanessa does the financial planning for our family. And I think there's a lot of women out there who have their head down and they assume that their husband is doing the financial planning. They assume that they're doing something. They go through a divorce, they go through a medical issue, their husband passes away, something terrible happens, and they discover that their husband has not been actually saving money. Can you talk to the ladies out there, all the single ladies, all the married ladies, all the sophisticated mamas out there who are finding themselves totally unaware of what's going on financially and why they should pick up Smart Women Finish Rich?
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. So Smart Women Finish Rich was the first book that I wrote. And I'm glad that you read it because, I give that book to a lot of my guy friends back when I wrote it. And it's very helpful. I think the thing for women to know is this. If you're in a marriage right now and you have a good marriage, that's great. But what you need to know is you're going to outlive your husband.
Oh, come
right?
on. So negative.
But now I'm gonna like cut to the chase here because there's really three core issues that women face. In most cases, women outlive their husbands. 80% of women die widowed, and 80% of men die married.
Boo.
So the average age of widowhood when I wrote the book originally was 56. Ooh. Today it's 50. It's gone up. It's 59. That's still really young. and for the family and people go, how is that possible? Well, because women tend to marry men that are older. Men pass away first. So the first thing you need to know is I always tell ladies, I don't care if you're married to the local bank president. At some point, there's a very good chance you'll be the one in charge of the money. The time to be in charge of not just paying the bills, but knowing where all the money is today. So knowing where's the will, where's the life insurance? Do we have life insurance? Where are the retirement accounts? Are we putting enough away in our retirement accounts? Are the beneficiaries up to date? Where's the college savings plan? All these things. There's like 17 things that I list in the book. That there's like a little what I call the Finish Rich quiz, and you go through all these questions to take a look at like what do you know or what don't you know, so that you can get on track with it. But the thing women need to know is you're going to be in charge of the money at some point, so the best time to be in charge of money is now. The second thing to know is you're going to live longer in retirement than most men do. Women are often retired 5, 10, 15, 20, some cases 30 years longer than their husbands. So you need more money set aside for retirement. And the third thing you need to know is that a lot of women are earning less than men, which women know this, but the reasons why haven't changed a lot over 20 years. One is, first of all, they're not paid equally in many cases, but then they're also they take time off from work to be full-time moms, which is a full-time job. And on average, women take somewhere between 7 to 11 years off from work at prime earning years. So when they have children, and then, I don't know, it doesn't sound like your wife did this, but when a lot of women have children, that becomes their full-time job. And therefore, they're walking away from work or they're having to leave work because of their situation in their prime earning years, which impacts their income and impacts how much money they have in savings. And it's not just in savings, it's in Social Security and it's in pension plans. And women have less money in Social Security and pension plans. So what Smart Women Finish Rich was all about was empowering women to wake up to what it is you specifically need to do to fix this, what's called a retirement gap. How do you protect yourself as a woman? And my mission, my mantra for 20 some years has been, I don't care if you're a woman, I don't care if you're married, single, widowed, divorced, you have to be the one in charge of your financial life. And I learned about money from my grandmother, Rose Bach. She was a woman who started with nothing, without a college education. She became a self-made millionaire. She was broke at 30. She learned how to do this, and she passed the lessons forward. She taught my father how to do it, myself, my sister. And really, when I started teaching seminars for women in money back in 1994, it was in an effort to basically pass along these lessons from my grandmother, because I had seen so many women hurt through widowhood and divorce financially. And I just wanted to do something about it. And, the crazy thing is I'm here 24 years later. Smart Women Finish Rich has sold 1 million copies. It's one of the most popular books for women in money that's ever been out. And when I'm psyched that you just read it, because when I went to go update it, the message was timeless. I just had to update things like the tax rules and the different retirement accounts that are available and the different financial service companies. But the message is timeless, and it's timely. So I think more women today are waking up to, the Me Too world. We're waking up to the fact that, like, if you want to be in charge of your life, be in charge of your money.
David, and just for the listeners out there who listen to our show regularly, I want to share this with you. When I was building DJ Connection, my wife and I, we got married when we were 20 years old. We're 20 years old. Wow. We started our company. Everyone kept saying, when's the baby due? We weren't pregnant. We just got married early. We went to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We started DJ Connection. We decided, we want to have 5 kids. We want to be married for a few years. And so we ended up we were married about 4 years, and then we had 5 kids under the age of 7. Boom, 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 and then twins at one time. Boom, boom. And so my wife did peace out. She did leave. She did exit the daily operations of the company. But every week, she would look at our finances, and she would say, baby, are you saving some money? And I would say, because I'm the spender in the family, David. You know, I go, baby, I just want to buy a little bit of pinyon wood, just a little bit of nice limestone rocks for my backyard. I just want, and I'm the guy who always wants to buy one more accoutrement, one more piece of decor. You know what I mean? I'm the guy who likes to buy speakers, new microphones. I'm kind of an audiophile. But my wife would always rein it in and say, this is how much you can spend this week. And when she first started presenting this to me about year 2 of our marriage, I thought, she hates me. She hates me. She hates me. I thought that because my wife would tell me, you have definitely exceeded your $1,000 per week discretionary spending, budget or whatever. And so next week you can spend $200. And I'm like, oh, you're unbelievable. Why do you hate my dreams? But I think there's somebody out there in the family. Talk to the couples out there. Maybe the husband's the one who's locking down the automatic savings. Maybe it's the wife who's doing it. Can you talk about why the person who's being financially prudent and who sets up the automatic millionaire process is not actually the enemy, but they're actually the hero?
Well, okay, so let me ask you, because this happened to you. Are you glad that she did this to you?
Yes, but I was so pissed consistently. I thought she hated me every week, but then I was happy the next week.
So let's talk about you, because you're a living, breathing example of this. When did you turn the corner and realize, you know what, actually, this was a pretty good idea. I'm glad we did this.
A little confession. I know you're not a priest, but you could be the financial coaching priest for people out there. I've been married 17 years. I'm 37. And I think when I turned 27, I finally said thank you, because I'm a horrible person.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because it's 7 years. So I don't. I think what it is that here's the truth about saving and investing and doing these things really right. You don't notice the impact, the positive impact always right away. You might notice the pain at first, right? Like, oh, I don't have the money. I'm not being allowed to go out.
Yeah.
Like I'll use my grandmother Bach. She realized at 30 she was broke, living paycheck to paycheck, and was never going to be able to get ahead unless she changed things in her life. And so she started saving 50 cents a week, 50 cents out of her paycheck, 50 cents out of my grandfather's paycheck. In order to do that, she worked at Gimbel's department store in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she had to brown bag her lunch. And when she went to Gimbel's with her brown bag of lunch and her girlfriends would go out to lunch, they would tease her and be like, oh, Rose, you're so cheap. And she'd say, you know what, I've made a decision. I'm going to start saving money because I want to retire down to the beach at some point. And they laughed at her.
Right.
Well, later on in life, she wasn't spending the winters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where it's freezing. She was at the beach in Laguna Beach, California. And, but that took like 4 decades, right? So where I go back to for you is like 7 years, right? Like it makes sense to me that you say, well, in 7 years, I started going, wow, this is pretty good. Because what happens is over time, that for some people, if they're in debt, what they realize 2-3 years later, all of a sudden they're out of debt. If you're automatically paying your debt down early, and I teach you in the Automatic Millionaire book how to do that. But all of a sudden your debt's gone, or all of a sudden you're like, wow, I never had any emergency money set aside, and now I do. Or you turn around 7 years later, and this is what happens. I get people stopping me on the street and in the airports and sending me emails. 7 years later, you turn around and I get people come up to me like, David, I have $100,000 in savings now, or I have $250,000 now, or I've got somebody just put on Amazon the other day that, the Latte Factor, they now own 3 homes and they were a renter. Well, they didn't go from stopping drinking coffee to owning 3 homes in 30 days. What happened was they read The Automatic Millionaire in 2004, and we're sitting here in 2018. And so over 14 years of doing all this, their whole life is completely different. So what I would say to somebody, back to your question, is that if someone's like really trying to get your financial act together,
right,
instead of fighting it, go with it. Go with it. Because here's the thing, you're gonna be older, right? You're gonna blink your eyes and 10 years are gonna go by, and you're either gonna be 10 years older and still broke, or you could be 10 years older and in much better financial shape. And one of my things in the book I say is that wealth isn't built in days, it's built in decades. And most people who a lot of times, I mean, you know, you're in the podcast world, right? People, so often it's all about this whole get rich quick scheme. Like, you know, I got this thing for you and this opportunity. And, you know, like, I don't know anybody who's gotten rich quick. Well, I know a whole lot of people who have spent their whole life trying to get rich quick, and they stay broke fast.
It takes longer to get rich quick, actually, if you look at the math there. It
takes so much longer. And the weird thing is, like, you know, the compound interest charts that you see in these books where they show you, like, hey, if you saved $5 a day or $10 a day and you invested it, it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or it could be worth millions. It all comes true. It all works.
I knew this would happen because I have like 31 questions prepared for you. I've probably gone through 7 of them so far. And you are like the world's #1 financial coach. If I had to give an elevator pitch, David Bach, world's #1 financial coach. And if people listen to the show, they go, Clay's not that smart. He took algebra 3 times and his ACT 3 times, but he's kind of funny. So we listen. So I want to break down 3 notable quotables, and then I want to tell people about the most current project you're working on, and I want to allow time for you to share with the listeners your most recent project and why they should check it out here. You have said in the past that people basically inflate in their mind how much money they actually make, and they almost universally underestimate what they actually spend. What do you mean by this?
All the time. So someone, if you're with a buddy and your buddy's like, yeah, I'm making $100,000 a year.
$100,000 a year. Unbelievable.
Okay. And then you open up the tax returns, like, because this is the thing about being a financial advisor. You actually get to see the truth, right? So if someone says to you, I make $100,000 a year.
Boom.
And then you open it up and you really look at the tax returns. No, they don't. They make $85,000 a year.
Okay.
They rounded it up, right? Nobody says, oh, I make $83,000 a year. They go, I make 85 or I make 90. People round up what they make. They tell other people and they tell themselves, I'm actually making more. So if someone's making 85, they'll say to people they're making 100. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is that then people, when you ask people, well, how much do you spend? Because I always would do this with them. How much do you think you spend a month?
Very little at all. I absolutely always am very conservative. I never overspend. I'm huge.
They give you their number, right? So they go, you know, I'm spending, I think, you know, we probably, and people sort of know, right? They go, I think we're spending, let's say, $7,000 a month. I'm just giving you a random number, okay? And then again, I'll go into the math, and if they said they're spending $7,000 a month, once I go into the real numbers, they're not. They're usually spending $8,000 or $9,000 a month. It's always more. So what happens is if it's just off by 10%, if a person inflates in their mind what they're making by 10%, and then they spend 10% more than they think they are, there's a 20% difference there, right? But this is why people go, I don't understand what's wrong with me. I'm working so hard and I'm making good money and I'm still broke. One of the things that's often wrong for people is that they're not telling them the truth to themselves about what they really make. And here's the other thing I'll say there. People take their gross number, right? So I make $100,000 a year. Well, no, you don't. After taxes, you made $55,000.
I moved to Latvia. I have expatriated my money. I no longer pay taxes. I am in some trouble with the IRS right now, but okay, you're right.
So I mean that's one right there, and I think you know, money's funny because you made the point about algebra and geometry. By the way, I hated those classes. I always tell people, you know, the good thing about money is it's super basic math, man. Like if you can take a number 10 and subtract 1 and realize it's 9, you know all you need to know about money.
Nice.
That's it. Like you make $10 and you save $1, you're in pretty decent shape, much better than most people. And they go, what? Like, yeah, that's a good place to start. You make $100, you save $10. Can you figure that out? Yeah. Okay, then good. Start there.
You know, I want to respect your time, and I want to ask you 2 more questions here. The American way, the more we make, the more we spend. And if we're not careful, the more we owe. Who said that? David Bach. You said the American way, the more we make, the more we spend. And if we're not careful, the more we owe. I circled that. I highlighted that. I wrote that down. I thought about embroidering it on my face. I thought that might be kind of intense, but I decided not to. But, I mean, talk to me about that. The American way. Why is it so screwed up by default?
Well, I mean, we created the concept of a consumer society, right? So the American dream is to have a lot of stuff. And it's never been easier to market to us to have more stuff, right? So you're on your phone and now it's an Instagram ad. Click, 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 buy something. Boom. It's never been easier to spend money than it is today. Literally, it's never been easier. You can just click and buy. And so everything around us, we were bombarded by tens of thousands of messages a year, and now we're bombarded by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of messages a year to spend more money. And I went on this tirade the other day on, where was it? I think it was CNBC, it might have been Yahoo. I can't even keep track. I've done so many interviews lately, but it was a tirade about the insanity of buying new cars every 3 years. And the American way, the American system, the American marketing machine has us programmed to buy new cars every 3 years. It has us programmed that if we come into any money, we should buy a new car. It has this program that if we get a tax refund, it's time for a new car. And so Americans go out and they buy new cars and they borrow the money. And there's no worse place to put your money than into a brand new car. And yet there's like $1.5 trillion now in car loans. We have more money in car loans than credit card loans and student loans. And a lot of those loans, like people, they just keep going out. You buy a new car, you buy a $50,000 new car. And you've been focused on the monthly payment because that's how they marketed it to you. And you drive that car off the lot, and that car's gone down in value by $10,000, $15,000 the moment you drive it off the lot. You borrowed money to buy an asset that immediately goes down in value. It's not an asset, it's a liability. So the whole key to really building wealth in America is this. You can either be somebody who spends money, or you can be the consumer, or you can be somebody who owns things. Owners get rich, right? So like you can go to Starbucks and have a coffee and spend $5. Or if you're going to not give that up, then at least own Starbucks stock, right? Because if you did, you could have made a fortune.
To quote Kanye West, he had a meeting here with Mr. Donald Trump, and they shared their dragon energy together. And Mr. Kanye West, he said, it's important for us to own lands and not brands. Thank you, Mr.
Really?
Kanye.
I missed that part of the interview.
Yeah, you got to watch it. You got to watch it the fifth time.
I just heard about the Superman hat, and I was like, I didn't know.
When you watch it the fifth time, if you stare at the picture long enough, you will find the notable quotable. I want to ask you this here. You said in one of your books, and again, I've got highlights everywhere, and I add it into a big doc that I look at. It says the truth about business is that it's normally very tough. It's very rare that you will start something and succeed right away. And if you do succeed, you might not make a lot of money. Most businesses take at least 2 or 3 years to show profits. In my mind, you're America's #1 financial coach. Why did you say that?
Well, I mean, it's the truth, right? You know a lot of entrepreneurs that make money their first couple years in business.
No.
I mean, I know entrepreneurs who've been in business, unfortunately, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they still haven't made any money. You know, what they're hoping is that as their top line grows, they're going to turn around and sell the business, and that's where their money's going to come from.
Right.
In fact, the entrepreneur fantasy is I'm going to build a business and I'm going to sell it, and then that's how I'll have money to retire. And today, with all these billion-dollar unicorn businesses, you know, it seems like it's easy, but like that's the small percentage. In fact, most businesses don't do $1 million a year in revenue. I think it's less than 5% of businesses do more than $1 million. I might have that wrong. I have to double check, but I think it's like less than 5% of businesses do over $1 million a year in revenue. I was in a group called Entrepreneurs Organization for like 16, 17 years. Yep. It's one of the leading entrepreneur organizations, and you had to do $1 million in revenue to be in the organization. You had to be the founder of the company. And that was like, you know, that line in the sand that you had to do $1 million or more weeds out most entrepreneurs. Sure. So most entrepreneurs don't have big businesses. And many entrepreneurs, you know, they're constantly putting their money back in the business to grow, and they're not taking money out for themselves. Or what they've been trained to do by their accountants is run all their expenses through their business. And when they do that, they get to the end of the year and then they have no profit. And then if they have no profit, what it really means is they actually don't have any money. And you know, you like that sound you just made. I'll do that from stage in front of entrepreneurs where I'll diagram what that looks like. I'll literally do the math. I'll go like,
you're sick.
And they told you to run all these expenses through, and now you got to the end of the year and you're at zero. And they go, "Isn't this great? You paid no taxes." And then I go, "So where's your money?"
Oh, see, the thing is, you know, there's a sound effect that really typifies, it explains what you just said. That's how we feel. That's how we feel. A lot of accountants are coaching us to be poor, but you're coaching your clients, your listeners, your nation to be successful. And I would like for you to share with the listeners, what is the most recent project you're working on right now? Because I'm an absolute homer for you. And not because I'm delusional, not because I'm delirious, but because I'm serious about success. And you have blessed me profoundly, and I have only paid you in my lifetime $80 that I know of. I purchased 4 of your books because I'm a bad person. I need to pay you more.
Well, really, if you bought $8 of the books, it means that I made about probably $250 in royalties, right? So
I'm going to mail you. I'm going to set up a PayPal GoFundMe account for you. We'll see if we can support David Bach, America's #1 financial coach. Seriously, you've helped me so much, brother. I mean it, and I just want the listeners to know what you're working on right now because they need to go check it out.
Hey, well, I'm super grateful to you. This has been really fun, and I would love to do a show with you again. So this was a blast. I enjoyed it. First of all, come visit me over at my website. Go to davidbach.com, and you can join our newsletter, which is free. And about every 2 weeks, I send out ideas and tidbits that can help you live and finish rich for the rest of your life. So that's davidbach.com. The new book is Smart Women Finish Rich. It just came out about 2 weeks ago. It's in stores now. It's updated 20-year anniversary edition. We also put out an updated edition of Smart Couples Finish Rich. That's a brand new updated book, and it's in stores now. It's all on my website. Automatic Millionaire has been updated. So 3 of my books we've updated in the last 18 months, all brand new, available for you. Also, I just from an entrepreneur standpoint, I'm a co-founder of a financial service company. The name of it is AE Wealth Management, and we have financial advisors all over the country. And so that's been my entrepreneur passion project the last 3 years. We're the second fastest growing RIA in America, according to Investment News, and we're really growing fast and having a ton of fun doing that, helping retirees all across America. And then the last thing is I am working on finishing my next book, which I'll come back and talk to you about, which is coming out May 7th, 2019.
Yes.
It is called The Latte Factor. And it is a parable. It's like a Who Moved My Cheese for personal finance written for people who probably normally would never read a financial book. I've put my best wisdom, simple nuggets into a little story that you can read in like less than an hour. And hopefully that's a book that my dream is it will translate all over the world and will spread the message of these simple ideas that, pay yourself first, find your latte factor, save money automatically, but we'll spread it in a way that especially young people will begin to realize that you don't need to be rich to live rich. That's really my next big
David, I want to sneak in a bonus question that you can hang up here.
Yeah.
Why? Because you are so successful. You've been a 9 times New York Times bestselling author. You've been on Oprah. You've been on The View. And by the way, you didn't go on Oprah to confess something. A lot of people go on to Oprah the second. You go on Oprah the first time because you have a new book. The second time to confess. You've been on Regis and Kelly. You've been on Larry King. Go ahead, Kala. You've been on the Today Show, CNBC, Fox Business. I mean, you are the who's who. You are the financial coach for America. Why are you so passionate about helping the listener listening right now? Not the listeners, but the specific person listening right now. Why do you care so much about their financial future?
It's such a good question. And I'll just be like totally open-hearted and honest with you at this very moment because I'm at a raw point. This has been a long day. I've had a computer crash and I've had like 4 interviews. And then I've rewritten the copy, the actual copy that's going to go on Amazon for this new book, The Latte Factor. We've been rewriting the copy for 3 weeks.
Hopefully this is not your worst interview of the day.
And the funny thing as I basically looked at this document, 45 minutes ago before I got on this interview with you, and I thought to myself, why am I still torturing myself with this work? And the answer is, I don't know. It's like a disease, right? Like I just deeply still care about what I teach. I love talking to people like you before we did the interview and finding out I wrote a little book and that message somehow reached you.
Yep.
And it helped change your life. And I still absolutely positively love that feeling that I get from knowing that I'm making an impact with my life. And for whatever reason, I think God put me here with this gift.
True.
And this is like my gift. And I keep saying to God, like, am I supposed to keep doing this? And here's the funny thing, like the latte, like I just watched this interview with Tim Ferriss. And I remember when Tim Ferriss reached out to me before he put out his first book. And I was watching this interview with Tim Ferriss and he was talking about, how does he choose the things he works on? And he said, when I go to bed and I and I'm thinking about something and I wake up and I'm still thinking about it, a lot of times I know that's something I have to work on. And I'll take the latte factor as an example. This book I'm working on finishing right now. I've had that voice in me for 14 years. In 2004, I wanted to do that book after The Automatic Millionaire. And for 10 years, Random House was my publisher. I would bring it up every year. I want to do this book. And they go, no, do a different book, right? And so finally I said, you know what? I'm going to go write this book. And then I'm going to go sell it to someone else if they don't want to buy it. And literally, like this book, I went out, first time, wrote the book, designed it exactly how I want it, and it's going to come out with Simon & Schuster. And so, 14 years, there was that voice inside me that just said, you have to go do this book. You have to get this message out. And I don't think I'm unique in that way, right? That's the way entrepreneurs are. There's always something. I think when you're called to do something,
vocation, yep,
it's you're called from a higher power. Paulo Coelho calls it your personal legend, and I love if you haven't read The Alchemist, everybody should go read The Alchemist. It's like the greatest book ever.
Put that on the show notes. Alchemist.
Yeah, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, and I went out and met with Paulo Coelho in Geneva because he's like my idol in terms of authors. He's sold like 150 million books, and his stories have translated all over the world. And we were out having dinner, and then we were out having a lot of drinks. And I think it was around 2 a.m, and Paulo turned to me and said, what is the book that you haven't written that you need to write? And I start telling him about the Latte Factor. I go, Paulo, I want to write this book that will translate all over the world and spread this message to more people. And he looks at me and he goes, well, then, David, you must write that book. So that was 2012. So, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in May 7th, 2019. So
I have a Bible verse I want to give you that you probably don't want from me because I'm certainly not a biblical prophet. But Colossians 3:23-24 to me explains the career of David Bach. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. David, thank you for serving. Thank you for helping. I appreciate you so much. And we like to end the show with a boom, which stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And so we like to count it down. Chup, are you ready to count it down?
Let's do it.
David, are you ready to bring the boom here?
Yeah, boom, man. I love it.
Here we go.
Awesome.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom!
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Steve, on part 1 of today's show, we interviewed the best-selling author about the book Automatic Millionaire. He breaks down the specific steps you need to take in order to become an automatic millionaire. But I wanted to go a layer deeper on today's show because a lot of people say, well, yeah, but I'm starting at the very bottom, and the idea of automating my savings it seems almost futile. And so I wanted to get into that for a second.
Yeah.
My flow, my mojo, what I like to do every single day is I like to go to bed at 9 p.m. and I like to wake up at 3.
Yep.
Because I know that I like to sleep between 9 and 3, which gives me essentially 6 hours to sleep, and then I wake up. Right. So I go to sleep. I wake up. Then I've got the day proactively in front of me, and I can organize my day, sort through my emails that I need to, edit videos, do that which I need to do, and therefore the whole day doesn't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like I'm behind, and then therefore the idea of automating my savings doesn't seem overwhelming. The idea. So then back in the day, I went to work at Target, and Applebee's, and DirecTV, and I had 3 jobs. And so, when you're automating your savings and you're saving a set percentage of a very low amount, it might not seem super encouraging at the time, but if you know that the schedule you have designed, in my case, working at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV, that will ultimately lead me to where I want to go. I knew that if I continued to work at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV and wake up every morning at 3 a.m. and follow the process, over time I would for sure get to my goals. So I want to get your thoughts on this because you sit down with people all the time at stevecurrington.com. You're a mortgage provider, and they seem shocked that their financial habits have gotten them where they are.
Right.
They seem shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't know what time they wake up. I don't know what time they go to bed. I don't know their rules for how they spend, but they seem like they're shocked sometimes when they talk to you and they try to get a mortgage. I mean, what percentage of the time do you talk to people at stevecurrington.com that are looking for a mortgage and they seem shocked by where they're at financially?
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to stick their head in the sand when it comes to what they've done with their credit or their savings or whatever. And, they feel like if you just ignore it, it'll go away or you don't have to address it. And
right.
So when someone applies for a loan or applies for a mortgage in our case, it kind of brings that up to the surface, right? And
right.
So then you have to face the hard facts that's like, hey, you're going to need X amount of dollars in order to achieve this goal of buying this house, and you're going to need to have X credit score in order to get there. But yeah, people are shocked because I think a lot of people have, not picking on people with bad credit, but it's just a lot of people that have bad credit. They have a different perception of what their credit is and what their score is. And so their surprise, Clay, is like, what do you mean you can't get me approved? And I'm like, well, no offense, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but you've never paid anything on time, ever.
Ever.
Every single account that you have on your credit has late payments, is charged off, there's issues, and there's no way. I would love to sugarcoat it and tell you, yeah, if you do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, you can get approved for a mortgage. But unfortunately, some things the only thing that's going to fix it is if you literally change the way you operate as a human, right? And I think that's what you're getting to is just it starts with the little things, you don't have a schedule and you don't get up at a certain time and you don't plan anything.
Well, I just know that, today is a day we're putting out the podcast, and every single day I record a podcast. So for those of you who subscribe to this podcast on Spotify or iTunes, you may see a show come through every couple days, and that's because certain content now is allowed on Spotify and certain content isn't. But if you go to rumble.com, you'll notice that every single day I put out shows, and I put out those shows every day, Steve, consistently. And that's so it's like a process. And the process of becoming financially successful starts with daily consistency. So I'm going to walk everybody out there through the steps to becoming a proactive financial person, and then I'd love to get your commentary on it. So Step one, you got to decide what time you're going to go to bed.
Yep.
I know we're talking to adults here, but this is crazy, wildly important.
You can't automate your savings if you can't even automate your schedule or set you know what I mean? You can't even set a schedule and stick to it. How are you going to stick to saving money every month?
It's so important that you automate your schedule. So in my case, I just like to go to bed every night at 9 o'clock. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying that's what I like to do. Next, automate when you wake up. You want to figure out, okay, what time am I waking up? It's not a variable in my mind. I'm not going, oh, man, I don't know what time I'm going to go to sleep. So many people run around seeing sleep therapists and sleep coaches and sleep centers to figure out why they're tired. I'll tell you why you're tired. You're probably on Netflix till 4 in the morning. So I encourage you to go to bed at a set time, wake up at a set time. Next, you got to figure out what percentage of your income you're going to automate, what percentage of your income you're going to save.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you have to do a certain percentage. I'll tell you that for me personally, I have always wanted to save half of what I earn or more. That's what I've wanted to do. Somebody else says that's too much. Someone says that's too little, but you want to automate that amount you save. And then finally, Steve, you want to automate the decision to get to work. And there's so many people that only get to work on the days where it's not raining.
Yeah.
Or it's not following a holiday. So as an example, a lot of people say, dude, I work every single day. I'm on my grind except the day before New Year's Eve.
Yep.
New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Day, because that's and then I'm on my grind, bro. I got my momentum back. But Valentine's, the day before that, it's tough. And then Valentine's, I typically go out with my lady friend, and now that next day is shot.
Yeah, it's like the day before every holiday, and then the eve of the holiday, and then the holiday, and then the day after the holiday. That's normal.
Well, St. Patrick's Day, you got to take the whole month off for that. A lot of people, and they say, well, my kids are going back to school, and then so we're going to have to take off that week to get the kids ready. And then my kid has a game. I got to take off that day too. And then we got fall break. Got to take that off,
My favorite holiday is Halloween. You know why? Because it doesn't matter what day Halloween falls on.
Yep.
People are going to work. that day and the day next
Have
day.
you noticed this, though? I mean, have you noticed that there's a large percentage of Americans that cannot string together 5 days in a row of being on time to work? I mean, this is a problem. So I'm trying to help you out there. So again, if you're out there listening to David Bach, the book is Automatic Millionaire. It's a phenomenal book. And then on part 3 of today's show, we're going to do a testimonial with a client that's gone on to have tremendous success. Again, we're going to have a testimonial with a client who's had tremendous success. Somebody out there just like you who decided to grab hold of their life, to change their destiny, and to move from just the default of drifting into a dystopian financial nightmare into actually taking control of their life, organizing their destiny. They went to thrivetimeshow.com. They scheduled a one-on-one consultation. Now they're having a very different financial conversation. They're doing well financially, and you're going to absolutely love this story here. But Steve, before we do that, SteveCurrington.com, that's the website where you provide mortgages to folks in all 50 states. And so if somebody out there is wanting to get a mortgage right now, they're looking to get a mortgage to buy a home, to buy an investment property. I know many people personally have worked with you. You've been doing this for how long now, Steve?
18 years now.
18 years. So if you're out there today and you're looking for a mortgage from a provider you can trust, Steve, what's the website? How do people get a hold of you, sir?
So just go to SteveCurrington.com, and my phone number is there, which is 918-281-5475. I work 7 days a week. I don't work banker's hours. Most people are buying houses, Clay, when it's not 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So I'm your guy for that.
Steve, you're a great American. And again, folks out there, for somebody driving, that's SteveCurrington.com. Somebody out there driving a skateboard over a gravel road while taking notes with an Etch-a-Sketch, that's SteveCurrington.com. Somebody who's trying to engrave this website. They're trying to use a chisel as their writing device. They're trying to chisel this into the face of stone. That's SteveCurrington.com. For all the people out there that are parachuting right now, flying out of a perfectly good plane, trying to listen to the podcast with your earbuds, that's SteveCurrington.com. Steve, there's somebody out there that primarily communicates via Braille. They can hear just fine. They can see just fine, but what they're wanting to do is they're trying to learn Braille. Yeah. And they're trying to write this down.
I saw this guy. He was at the drive-thru at McDonald's, and it's like right on the wall under the window.
Yeah. Well,
and he was just learning it, which was really bad because it backed up the drive-through line early in the morning.
Steve, for all the scuba divers out there at SteveCurrington.com, I mean, if you're a scuba diver, it can be harder to write.
If you're under the water right now, we know the bubbles that are coming up are you saying SteveCurrington.com.
For all the people listening right now while riding a mower, you listen to the podcast while you're riding a mower. Yep. You got one of those big zero-turn radius things. This is like your therapy
Cub
time.
Cadet.
Your Cub Cadet. You're outside right now. This is your therapy time. That's SteveCurrington.com. It's hard to write that down while you're driving the Cub Cadet. For anybody out there who's in a batting cage right now, anybody out there who you're in the batting cage, the balls are coming in, and you thought you signed up for the slow pitch?
Yeah.
But it's a little more intense. Pitch. But your buddies are with you, and you went to one of those places where you can have adult beverages and hit golf balls into the batting cage.
Yeah.
And you're in there, and you're kind of scared right now because the ball's going, boom, boom, and you realize that the guy before you never got a hit. Yeah. And you've been trying to play it off like you played Division I at some point.
Yep.
Because you've been telling people you played Division I baseball.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to know that you didn't play Division I baseball. And you got those earbuds in right now, and you're going, holy crap, what was that website at SteveCurrington.com?
When the ball hits you in the face, you can use the blood from your face to etch the website on your arm so you can remember
Dude,
later.
For all those guys right now in the urinal, and it's kind of embarrassing because the person next to you just found that you're listening to a podcast while urinating.
Yeah.
So you're listening to the podcast in one hand, and you're urinating in the other, and
you have
you're
something else in your other hand.
And you're trying to mute this thing so people don't recognize that you're a guy that kind of listens to the podcast while urinating. That's SteveCurrington.com. For all the people out there that are on the side of a building right now, you're cleaning that glass. You're on the 74th floor, and you're scared of heights.
Look in the window. I'm right there.
There it is. It's
SteveCurrington.com.
For everybody right now who's going to your Catholic church, you're in line to go into the confessional.
Yeah.
And you're in line. You're in line to confess, and you actually dropped your phone and you cracked that thing. And you said, "Oh, boop!" And now the priest
you have to confess about
the priest
that too.
is going, "Oh, I heard that, buddy."
Yeah,
But SteveCurrington.com. That's how you. Again, I know a lot of people listen to this show different ways. I mean, some people listen to it while walking, and someone's going. The people walking are going, "Stop it! I've written this down several times."
Maybe you're at the beach and you're trying to write it in the sand,
right?
And the water keeps erasing it.
You're going, "This is a problem." That's SteveCurrington.com. Steve, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate you. If you're looking for a mortgage, go to SteveCurrington.com.
Boom.
So, ladies and gentlemen, on part one of today's show, we interviewed the best-selling author David Bach to talk about his book, Automatic Millionaire. Part two of today's show, we had Steve Currington hop on the show and tell us how he's built his multi-million-dollar mortgage empire. And now on part three of today's show, we're joined by David Fraser. Now, David Fraser is a success story. He's grown his company, bunkylife.com, into a very successful business. And I want to get his thoughts on the same topic, this idea of how do you organize your day. How do you organize your life if you're going to become a super successful person? How are you going to build an organization if you're disorganized? And here to talk about it is David Fraser with bunkylife.com. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Clay.
So I'm going to pull this up real quick because I really want to get your thoughts on this here. There's this book called Automatic Millionaire, and the idea of the book Automatic Millionaire is that if you and I, if we follow certain specific automated saving strategies, then over time, we'll just have $1 million in the bank. And again, it's a best-selling author. The book's called Automatic Millionaire. It's a great book. And David Bach talks about, hey, if you want to become an automatic millionaire, what you have to do is you have to automate your savings, and you save a set percentage of your income. And over time, you just will mathematically, for sure, become a millionaire, which seems obvious. But I would even go back. I agree with what he's saying, but I think the people that I've met who are super successful, they've automated their bedtime. They've automated the time they wake up. They've automated the time they go to bed. Yes, they've automated the time they wake up, the time they go to bed. They've oftentimes automated what they wear every day. They've automated where they put their car keys. They've automated things in their life so that their life can become successful and not stressful. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, and maybe you can walk us through your calendar and some of the non-negotiable things that you put in your calendar, sir.
Okay, that's a great topic. So the automation of things, I think it frees up your brain, because there's really especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur with a team, there's going to be a ton of decisions coming at you. And I think your job is to save your decision energy for making the top 5 to 10 decisions you need to make that day that are really high level. And if you're always trying to rethink, what are we going to have for supper? Or what am I going to wear today? Or if you're having to relitigate everything in your life every day, it's going to drain a lot of that decision-making energy. So if you set the alarm for 5 a.m. in my case, that's what happens every morning. You get up at 5. You don't have to rethink that. You don't have to, stress about it. It just happens, and it's easy. And same thing with bedtime too. And if you can automate even just the trivial things like who's going to cut the lawn and when are you going to do that type of thing, all those little things, if you can just get them so they're just happening without you having to put any energy into it, that will just free you up to make hopefully better, bigger decisions.
I think a lot of people struggle with this idea because they have this great schedule that they've designed, and then it comes in contact with humans. So let me just pull up my calendar today with humans that don't share your same values oftentimes. So let me pull up my calendar for today. And this is just an example of a situation that I'm working through right now. And it's a good example, I think, is here we are. We have our interview scheduled for today at our time here. Here it is. I'm excited about our time for our interview. It's in the calendar. Things are great. Well, we bought a Bunky Life from you. I bought an actual Bunky Life from you, and I put up one of these bolt-on bedrooms in the mall in Oklahoma. And I have an employee that's supposed to be working at the mall today. And they text me, this is a new position. So at the mall, what you do now is you go to the mall and you tour the bunkylife.com product. You walk in the home, you look at it, and then we ask you to leave an objective review about the craftsmanship, about the quality of the Bunky Life. And if you do so, you're entered in for a chance to win a Bunky Life. This is what we're working on right now in the mall. And this person texted me at approximately 10 o'clock and said, I'm so sorry, I'm running behind. Please call. So at 10, I didn't receive the call because I was on a call with Tony. And the call with Tony wrapped up at 10:25 because I have a 10:30 interview with you. I look at the text. The person says, I'm so sorry, I'm running a little late. This text message was sent to me after the time they're supposed to be there. The mall opens up at 10, and after 10, they had texted me. So I call them and I go, hey, are you there? And they go, yeah, I'm totally my fault. I'm trying. I ran this, that, whatever. And I say, hey, I'm not going to spend my day negotiating with you. I have an interview to do right now with David Fraser at this moment. So whatever you dealt with that caused you to be late, just get there. I'm not going to freak out about it. We'll talk about it later. And in fact, we have a meeting every morning at 6 a.m. So tomorrow at 6 a.m., if you could be present, we could talk about it then. But we're not going to talk about it now because I have an interview booked right now. And that sort of behavior, David, is what you need to be successful. And I think a lot of people think it's mean because the person goes, well, do you have a minute to talk? It took a little longer to get there and I wanted to tell you what happened. And I go, no, but I have an interview to do right now. And that's when that's what it means to be a disciplined entrepreneur. Could you talk to us about the messy middle? What happens when you have this great plan for your workout schedule, for your diet, for your life, and then other people who don't share your goals get involved?
Okay, so I think a really good phrase I heard from another entrepreneur that I know is that someone's lack of preparation does not create urgency on your part, right? So just because someone didn't plan or didn't show up on time doesn't mean all of a sudden you need to drop everything you're doing and try to save them, right? You don't want to deprive them of that painful learning experience that they're going to go through when they screw up. So if you can just avoid saving people when they try to thrust their chaos onto you, that's a big part of it. And just taking a deep breath and going, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. I don't know if that's helpful commentary on what you're saying, but I mean, it happens to everybody. And also, I mean, I do that to other people sometimes. Something will come up and I'll need to kind of dump it on someone else's plate. But at the end of the day, you have to keep the big things in focus. So that what are 3 or 4 things you have to get done and make sure that happens. And the rest of it, if you is it not a terrible idea to have a little bit of white space for putting out fires?
Yep.
In your calendar. Or just planning, you got the coaches meeting, right? Tomorrow morning at 6. That's when we're going to solve those issues.
Yep.
So just, it's in the calendar and you'll always have these people that always have another idea to share at the meeting and blah, blah, blah. It's just no, there's a time set for that. And we have to be, it's not mean to do that, right? Ultimately, if you don't have an organization and you don't have things flowing in an appropriate way that makes sense, it's going to be chaos and they're not going to have a job. So really it's actually a kind thing to be hey, stay on the task here.
No, this is big. Now I'm going to show another example. I'm just trying to show my real calendar so people can see this. I do what's called 13-point assessments. Now, a 13-point assessment is where somebody wants to become a client and I have time blocked out to do those 13-point assessments. So I have one today at 9:30. I already did it. And guess what? Lisa picked up the phone right on time. We had a great conversation and it was great. She picked up the phone right on time. It was great. Then I have a one today at 3:00, a 13-point assessment. I only take on a total of 160 clients, but I'm telling you folks, I usually have, you look at all the purples, each one of those purples is a scheduled 13-point assessment. So I normally have 8 of those a week or 7 of those a week. And you say, well, why would you schedule 7 13-point assessments if you only want to, if you don't want to take on any new clients? Well, it's because clients of mine, if my average client, David, is around for 6 years and we have 160 clients, you can do the math and you discover that about every 6 weeks, we would have to replace a new client. And I always want to bring in new people into the fold that are a good fit for our program, but I block out time. So this lady showed up today. I don't have a problem with her, David. She showed up today and I just want to see if you can predict what I did. So she showed up today at this time, 8:30. This woman shows up today at 8:30 in person. No appointment scheduled, and says, hi, I'd like to schedule a 13-point assessment with you right now. I'm available. Is it okay if we meet? What do you think I said to her, David? She showed up in person to meet right now about a 13-point assessment right now. How do you think I handled that?
I would have said, well, thank you for coming in, but I have a time available whenever your next available slot is. Let's do it then.
That's exactly what I did. And thankfully it went well. But I mean, this is the reality of we all have 24 hours in a day. And what we do with that time is what produces the success we have. Now, I want to go to bunkylife.com in closing, and I want to make sure we give people an opportunity to check this out. The reason why I bought a Bunky Life for our own business is I thought it would be a wonderful way to serve as a kiosk in the mall. I love to have a physical location in the mall. Also, I believe in the product. And I thought that potentially we could sell some Bunky Life units right here in Oklahoma. So my investment to buy the Bunky Life, I think I spent a little over $10,000 to have it shipped here and built here. Then I paid the team to build the Bunky Life. And people in Tulsa now are experiencing it in the mall. The reactions we're getting are really good. I mean, people are really excited about it. They're fired up to see it. David, what kind of people buy a bunkylife.com product? And maybe what's your call to action today, sir?
So the type of person that needs a bunkie in their life is somebody with a backyard, and they have got guests they want to have over, whether that's family or friends or long distance people that want to come and stay with them. And that backyard bunkie is going to be the bridge so that someone can come and stay. They don't have to stay in a crazy hotel or not come. Or maybe they need extra space for an office or like a craft room or a man cave. So somebody that just wants extra space that they can easily, quickly put up relatively inexpensively in the backyard.
And as far as the call to action today, if people want to purchase a bunkielife.com product, what's the call to action for everybody out there, sir?
Go to bunkielife.com, schedule a chat with one of us. You can go scroll down to the bottom. We have virtual tours, or if you're in Tulsa area, go to Woodland Hills Mall and check out the one there. It's apparently getting stunning reviews.
Unbelievable. David, thank you so much. By the way, yesterday we logged over 30 reviews. I think we had 31 was the number of reviews we logged in one day having the bunkielife.com in the Woodland Hills Mall. And so we'll see how many reviews we get there. But people are
How do we see those reviews, Clay? Where do we go to see those?
Outside Inc. is the company that will be reselling and selling the Bunkie Life units. And so Outside Inc. is the company. We can do a search on Google right now for Outside Inc. And that's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's the company. And people are leaving reviews on their various Google maps there. So I think this is what you're starting to see here. Future Trap House. Can't wait.
Love it.
I'd love to have this. Great quality, amazing service. That is amazing. I love my own space for creativity, arts, and crafts. Great quality and professional services. So that's we're getting great feedback so far. Again, thank you so much for believing in the mission and allowing us to put one in the mall. David, we'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Okay, thanks, Clay. Appreciate your time.
Bye.
My name is Joe Lai, and I'm with Kirkpatrick & Lai Orthodontics. At Kirkpatrick & Lai Orthodontics, we create beautiful smiles by straightening kids' teeth and adults' teeth. The services that Clay and his team provide would be something like how to get more customers into my business and get the message out that I'm the best orthodontist in Tulsa. He does that by social media. We get the word out through videos and pictures, and being just top mind awareness, as he would always say. Also, how to reach out and create that bond with my referring doctors. He helped me kind of get somebody in-house to go out and meet doctors and help me kind of continue building that relationship while I do the work. Website. The website's so majorly important. We get several patients through our website. And what he's doing is there's a certain way that you want your website to look and certain content because you want call to action items in your website, and we didn't have that before. So now we get 7 or 8 new patients just through the website alone. Clay and his team I would just say they're over the top. I mean, nothing is too big, nothing's too grand for Clay and his staff and his team. I mean, he says boom, he really means it. I mean, they over deliver, really, to be honest with you. And they come up with ideas that are just top notch. And if you don't like something, great, move on. He'll figure out something that works for your style and your identity. But I would just say the biggest thing for Clay and his team is they over deliver. Clay and his team help kind of create that culture also for your business that, hey, we got to get things done in a timely manner. It holds me accountable to do the certain tasks so that we can create things in a timely manner. So there is a sense of urgency that he creates, and it's a lot of it's just through his enthusiasm. He's always on the go, so it kind of puts you on that same mindset of, hey, let's get this done, let's work hard, but let's also have fun with it. When I went to orthodontic school, we got 0 training on marketing. Actually, when I got out of school 18 years ago, it was kind of taboo to actually do any marketing. The most you could do is put your name in the Yellow Pages. And so now it's pretty common knowledge and pretty mainstream to go ahead and get your name out there, tell everybody your story, who you are, what you're about. If you don't do that, it's a leg of your business that you're lagging behind. Because you could be the best orthodontist or the best whatever, but if people don't know that, then you won't get the customers coming in. I meet with Clay and his team on every Friday about 11 o'clock, and to be honest with you, at the beginning I wasn't that thrilled with it. Coming in every week just kind of seemed like a lot, but for me, I find the marketing aspect interesting. I enjoy it. I love working with Clay. I think it's the main reason why. I've kind of built a relationship with him. I think it got to a level now we're pretty good friends. And so to me, it's enjoyable. I really enjoy the creativity and how when you put the energy into it and the work into it, how you get everything kind of comes back and it works. I've worked with Clay and his team for about, I think it's about 3 years, and every year it's just gotten better and things have grown more every year. I've been trying to get my wife and her pediatric dentist office and our partners on board with Clay for a while. I just saw that they were kind of getting stagnant in their practice, and times were kind of getting slow for them, and they needed more referrals. And I knew that Clay could definitely help them out by even just one thing, which would be change your website. And just by doing that, you're going to get patients very easily. But another thing too is that they needed to change their culture and their mindset of how to bring in patients and creating a brand as well for them, and giving them more of an identity so the whole staff could kind of rally around that. For anybody that's coming out of school or just starting new with a business of any sort, be it medical or anything of that nature, I highly recommend Clay helping you create that business model. We're trained to do what we're trained to do, but we're not trained to do the business aspect or the marketing or how to deal with the patient or our staff. So Clay can pretty much do all that. But what I like the most about Clay and his staff is that everything's in-house. I don't have to go to one place to do my website. I don't have to go somewhere to do my videos. I don't have to go another place to shoot photographs, somewhere else to do web content or team coaching or entrepreneurship. Clay pretty much is the total package. He's really a great mentor. So if you're new and starting a business and you want to avoid all the pitfalls, I would definitely hook up with Clay and his team. If someone's not using Clay and his team to help build their business, they're missing out on a lot. There's so many details and so many aspects of creating a business that Clay really makes it simple, makes it fun, and you learn so much in a short amount of time that I think he's the best entrepreneur, business coach, marketer, you name it. The guy's and his team's got it all going on.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Crockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So Think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building it into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy, Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or, navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns, because our clubs were all closed for 3 months and you have $350,000 of bills you've got to pay, and we have no accounts receivable. He helped us navigate that, and of course we were conservative enough that we could afford to take that on for a period of time. But it was, anyways, great man. I'm very impressed with him. So Clay, thank you for everything you're doing, and I encourage you, if you haven't ever worked with Clay, work with Clay. He's going to help magnify you, and there's nobody I have ever met that has the ability to work as hard as he does. He probably sleeps 4, maybe 6 hours a day, and literally the rest of the time he's working, and he can outwork everybody in the room every single day, and he loves it. So anyways, this is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Thank you, Clay, and anybody out there that's wanting to work with Clay, it's a great opportunity to ever work with him. So you guys have a blessed one. This is Charles Kolaw. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D. Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
The Thrive Time Show, 2-day interactive business workshops, are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.